Meet Sun Hae-young, a woman who goes above and beyond to avoid any form of losses, especially the financial ones. Growing up, her mother always took in foster kids, leaving Hae-young alone and pretty much neglected, giving all her love to the foster kids while Hae-young was left fighting for whatever affection was left. And usually, there was none left. This has led to her having a distant relationship with her parents, especially with her mom. And that also made her very independent and fostered her ideology for no losses. This also meant that she expects fairness and give and take exchanges, which also transferred into her romantic relationships. She ended up breaking things off with many of her boyfriends due to her feeling like she's losing more than she's investing into them. For instance, one of her boyfriends would use up all her products while staying over and would not bother refilling them, leading to them breaking up. Well, another relationship ended to the lack of compromise, let's say, in their intimate relationship. I'll leave it at that. I think you know what that implies. You see, Hae-young had no problem with staying single, as taking care of herself was all she needed to stress over. But that basically changed when she discovered that her ex-boyfriend, An Woo-jae, who also is her co-worker, got extra benefits and even promotions after he announced his wedding with another employee at her company. That employee is Won Yi-lin. This is also when she discovered that the company she's working for was giving out benefits for their married or soon-to-be married employees. Such benefits usually included 3 million won for their wedding, 2 weeks off for the honeymoon, even down to the renting of buses to guests that would be attending the wedding. The medical expenses of your spouse would be paid off for, vacations every 5 years, and just when you thought it ends there, no. They had to double it. If you were to get pregnant, you would get 1 million won as congratulations per child, as well as maternity insurance, maternity days off, and much more. While the single employees of the company were working their asses off with no return benefits. So her dreams of getting promoted were only gonna come true sooner if she was to get married. That is exactly what she was gonna do. To not lose on the promotion opportunity, she had to find a fake room, but where on earth was she gonna find someone willing to jump into this crazy plan of hers? This is where Kim Ji-wook ascends down in his white robe, angel wings, shining bright. Well, not really quite. You see, Ji-wook was a part-timer as a cashier at a convenience store in Hae-young's neighborhood. So he has seen and interacted with Hae-young multiple times prior, but were these interactions pleasant? Let's ask the audience. Okay, so no. Matter of fact, it was quite the opposite. You see, Ji-wook was a person that valued others and their well-being, even if that meant jeopardizing his own well-being. He cannot ignore those in need and was always smooth and respectful to the customers. But seeing Hae-young's ups and downs and even witnessing her arguments with her previous boyfriends, it has left Ji-wook pretty much wanting nothing to do with her. So now imagine this, someone you want absolutely nothing to do with, coming up to you and asking you to get married. Well, fake married, but that's still marriage. Crazy, right? Well, somehow, someway, Mr. Ji-wook decides to help out Hae-young and agrees to this fake marriage. This is No Love No Gain, starring Shin Mina and Kim Young-dae. Let's talk about it. If has intrigued you, I would actually recommend you pause the video right here and go check out this drama for yourself before coming back and finishing this video. Because I'm about to share my thoughts on like the episodes I've watched currently, so there will be spoilers. You've been warned. This is your warning. There will be spoilers ahead. So make sure to pause this, go check it out on your own, and then come back. However, if you are already caught up with all the episodes, or just simply not planning on watching this, then please do continue watching this video. I hope you enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Alright, so do you remember how I said Son Hae-young was dating her co-worker An Woo-jae? Alright, so basically, they broke up 6 months ago. Actually, she really quite liked him, but the reason for their breakup was that she did not want to burden him in the future with her family, especially with her mother's situation. This was actually triggered one night when he was drunk and blurted out if she was planning to continue taking care of her mother alone, even if they were to get married. For context, Hae-young's mother is suffering from dementia and has been admitted into a nursing home. Hae-young is her guardian and has kept this secret from her other foster siblings and kept disguising it as her mother basically staying at the countryside home and living her best life. Basically saying, listen, mom is just having her little hot girl summer over in the countryside. Just let her be. So keep that in mind as the story keeps going. So Haeyoung was taken aback with this question, and since that night was reflecting a lot on it and what that would have meant for her relationship with him. And in the end, she concluded that it would have been a loss and a burden situation for him. And although she hates suffering losses of her own, she hates giving other people losses even more. So she simply pulled up 6 months ago and broke things off with him with the classic statement of, "I don't love you anymore." Now here is where shit gets a little wicked. You see, Anwoo-jae is actually a pee-pee head. Yeah, you heard me right. He is a pee-pee head. So at that time of the breakup, he was already in a relationship with Yi-lin. He was already planning on proposing, yes, proposing to Yi-lin literally the day Haeyoung broke up with him. Girl, when I tell you I was staring at this plot revealing with my jaw open. So like, put yourself in Haeyoung's shoes. You show up to your ex's wedding, giving him hella congratulations money just for them to play the couple's like history montage, or like of them, like, you know, the cute clips that they play at weddings of them celebrating their like 1 year together when you literally were with him 6 months ago. Yeah, that is crazy work. And obviously they had to give us like a montage of her like sabotaging the wedding, having her like girl boss moment, and like, you know, outing him, exposing him, and like, you know, ruining the wedding pretty much. But just for it all to be in her head, like, why did they play us like that? I don't understand. She should really have stood on business and done the thing she had imagined. Like, she legit just sat there baffled, and her head was running like 100 miles per hour. And to top it all off, she ended up catching the flower bouquet. Like, not only do you go to your ex's wedding who was two-timing you, you find that out, don't even confront him or mention it, and instead you leave with the flower bouquet? Crazy work. Crazy. So one of the reasons that basically had pushed Ji-wook into accepting this offer was the fact that he had overheard her conversation with her ex regarding the mother. And although there was like no details to the event besides like the mention of her mom, Ji-wook kind of concluded that Haeyoung was also doing this for her mother. Considering Ji-wook was raised by his grandmother, and as it seems his mother has left him with her mother, aka the grandmother, and the mother is currently leading a life with a new family in Canada. From the flashbacks we've gotten with him and his grandma, it seemed that she kept him away from his mom to not like meddle with the family dynamic in Canada. But that all seemed quite unclear and vague. But what was certain was that families and mothers did invoke a certain emotion for Ji-wook. He also mentioned that he was constantly being contacted about moving to Canada, which I found very interesting. And his only ticket out of it was basically the excuse of, "I'm starting my own family, so please leave me alone. I'm not moving to Canada." And I found that very interesting, considering his whole childhood he was told to stay away from his mom or didn't have a relationship with his mom, and now suddenly in his adult life they're trying to get him to be close to his mom. I don't know. It's still very confusing and up in the air. Another conversation he had overheard was when Haeyoung's foster sisters mentioned that the mother was in the nursing home and had like a episode. Well, they ended up finding out about her being in the nursing home as the nursing home contacted them when they couldn't get a reach of Haeyoung, and they had to contact obviously the second guardian she had referred them to, and in this case it was the foster sisters. A little more about the foster sisters. So the eldest one is called Cha Hui-sung, and she's working as a voice actress if I'm not mistaken, and she has been dating this producer called Yoon Tae-hyung for like 10 years on and off. So Anwoo-jae and Yoon Tae-hyung are actually twins. Gotcha there. They're not twins, but they're both pee-pee heads, so they're twinning on that aspect. They're both are douchebags. And why, you may ask? Well, essentially Tae-hyung is also cheating on Cha Hui-sung with another voice actress named Cho Min-ji. So the other sister and the youngest is named Nam Ja-young, and she lives with Haeyoung. She's working as a web novelist. She's actually quite known. She writes quite the spicy love stories, if I do say so myself. They had me a little jump scared with the scenes they were playing. I was like, hello, what is happening here? can I get a warning next time? But turns out she was just writing, so yeah. So back to the whole fake wedding. Haeyoung's plan was for Juke to basically only show up for the wedding and walk down the aisle, boom, done. Her tit for tat approach in life obviously was not gonna let you basically come out of this empty-handed, so she offered to pay him. But he was not quite interested in the pay. His only request for her in return for this favor was that she would take care of the stray cat that he was fostering at the convenience store. She also was adamant on not making him a memorable groom to avoid any sort of questionnaires or mentions of him after the wedding from like her co-workers. Well, as you saw from hopefully the pictures and videos I've put here, he's not bad looking, but it's just the way he's dressing is usually very casual and almost nonchalant, like he really doesn't care about appearance. So when he dresses up properly for the wedding and gets his hair styled, he has turned many heads. And I do not think he will be as forgettable as Haeyoung initially wanted him to be. Their plan had ended up taking a little detour as well, where he ended up staying over with her at the hotel post the wedding due to her ex and his wife, who somehow, some way, the universe works in crazy ways. They ended up booking the same hotel the same day and just ended up crossing paths, so they couldn't like depart according to plan. So he had to like go with her to the hotel, stay over and all that because... And also the cherry on top was that they were neighbors. Like they had neighboring rooms in the hotel. How do you book a hotel, same one, in this big city, same day, and end up with neighboring rooms? Like that is just wild to me. But we digress. They essentially ended up like departing paths the day after, which, you know, not a big deal. But basically they departed at the airport, where Haeyoung still insisted on giving him his pay for the gig, and he even gave her a little pay and a letter for her trip. And I think they actually departed on a really cute note, where she basically kept calling him husband and partner, and he kept calling her ma'am. And she essentially encouraged him to do what he wants in life, and even suggested that he does book a trip somewhere, even if it's Canada, where he can like go to his biological mother. She just was like very encouraging, and he on the other side basically congratulated her and wished her luck with her promotion and everything she was aiming for in her career. So fast forward 3 months, she is finally getting the promotion she was waiting for and getting an award for her contribution at her company. So the CEO of that company is Bok Yoo-hyun. Yes, Bok Yoo-hyun. I know what it sounds like. Many refer to him as that, you know, to make fun of it or, you know, talk smack about him that way. But anyways, he did not show up to that ceremony as he was getting his ass beat by his father and scolded by his mother, Sona. Okay, let me give you a little context because this sounds crazy. So remember the spicy novel writer Yeonbora, aka Namjaeon, Haeyoung's younger foster sister? Yes. Well, Bok Yoo-hyun's mother was actually a really big fan and supporter of her. And obviously she did not want her family knowing she's out here reading spicy books and smut at night in the morning during breakfast. So she hid that well while still supporting and encouraging Jaeon. As for how that relates to Bok Yoo-hyun getting his ass whooped, well, he ended up finding out his mom's secret and had a whole mental breakdown for like a solid week. He was distraught. He was in shock. But he ended up retaliating by leaving hateful comments on Bora's novels. Now, this was not like Bora's first time getting mean comments, but something about what Bok Yoo-hyun wrote truly affected her. So she ended up taking legal actions. And that's how his family ended up finding out. And his dad, obviously being like obsessed with his image and his company running smoothly and aiming to be like the best, he was fuming that they got a case due to his son's actions. Little did he know though, it was all because of his wife, you know? But honestly, even if he did find out though, I believe that he wouldn't be able to do anything due to him having an affair prior, which seems to be like held as a grudge by his wife, Sona, as she always brings it up when he like starts acting out. Rightfully so, queen, put him in his place. Back to the Bok Yoo-hyun beating, right? His secretary, Yeon Ha-jun, was having the time of his life eavesdropping on this whole ordeal unfolding in the office of the boss, right? But fun fact about Yeon Ha-jun was he's actually acquainted with Nam Jae-yeon. They were classmates back in the day. He was always super nice to her, and I think she even had and still has a little bit of feelings for him. So when they reunited recently, obviously she couldn't tell him that she writes, spicy novels for a living, with literally him as the main character. The main character in her stories shares his name, so I believe the visualization of him is quite literally Yeon Ha-jun. So she disguised it behind children's novels as her genre. So while Gyu-hyun was being attacked for leaving comments on Bora's novels, which Ha-jun knew about, the part he was clueless about was that Bora is Jaeyoung. But fasting forward to the actual investigation and hearing time for Gyu-hyun's hate comments, he was in bed rotting for a while, so he showed up to the police station looking very, very undemure, very raggedy. While on the contrast, the novelist Bora put on her best designer clothes, baby. She pulled up ready to stand on business. Well, okay, so we thought. We thought she would. Shadi was legit filming him behind a pole and purposely bumped into him, but she ended up falling instead. And that's how Gyu-hyun saw what she looked like. But at that point, he didn't know that's her. He just thought, oh, someone bumped into me, like, let me say sorry. And since he tried to help her, he got her phone, but due to the impeccable timing of the universe, she ended up that exact moment receiving a message from her publisher about the hearing. So he read out the name and connected the dots. So now he knows what she looks like, but he doesn't know that she's acquainted with his secretary and also one of his company's employees, while she's thinking he's just some normal civilian and not a whole CEO in front of her. So he eventually finds out that she is Nam Jae-young and she is acquainted with his secretary, since he got nosy when Yeon Ha-jun mentioned that he's meeting up with his childhood friend, and being the nosy CEO he is, he's like, wait, my secretary has friends? Unbelievable. Let me investigate. He got a little too nosy, and while secretly following him, he saw them together, and that's where the plot is currently. Finally, the last things we were left on was basically that Haeyoung was in her promotion arc, but seems to be missing Ji-wook and his presence, and the cutscene we got from Ji-wook was him being approached by like a black fancy car. Next thing you know, he's amongst the new recruits in Haeyoung's company. They have like this very interesting exchange in the entrance lobby of the company where he's like blending in with the recruits, and then suddenly she turns around and they just like lock eyes. I mean, I think he knew that's her company, but she was definitely not expecting to see him right there for the first time in 3 months. She was like, whoa, what's going on? And also, he did look different. He cleaned up, got a haircut, was dressed according to the workplace. So that's where we left off. And I'm currently theorizing that Kyu-hyuk's father might have had the affair with Ji-wook's biological mother, and when he mentioned that he had handled the affair like neatly and quietly, he could be implying that having her sent to Canada basically. In that way, he would like protect the family reputation and all that. Meaning that Ji-wook and Gyu-hyun could be half-brothers? Step-brothers? No, half-brother. If they're, yeah, they have the same father. Unless there's more secrets between Kyu-hyun's father and Sona. But yeah, from the current knowledge so far and my theory, they are half-brother. And the person that approached Ji-wook could possibly be from like the dad's side, wanting him to like stir the pot for the company management in a way to like maybe motivate Kyu-hyun to actually get his act together and do better for the company. Or maybe he's like so fed up with Kyu-hyun and just wants to put his second son as CEO to replace him. We don't know, but I guess we'll find out in the coming episode, because they truly are keeping like the whole Ji-wook lore very like mysterious and very secretive, and they're very selective with like the flashbacks, the info we're getting on him. Also, initially when like Haeyoung started like plotting for the fake wedding situation, there was a scene where she was speaking with the CEO in the elevator. And since Kyu-hyun was told to marry within a year by his father, I had assumed that they would eventually get together on this fake marriage. But basically, she would be asking Ji-wook, and then she would find out that Kyu-hyun is also looking for like some sort of fake marriage. And if Ji-wook had kept rejecting the offer, she would, drop him, go to Kyu-hyun and ask him instead. But honestly, I'm glad it did not take that route. So now it leads me to believe that something might actually start brewing between Park Hyun and Nam Jae-yeon, aka Bora. I'm not really sure how that would unfold, but like I did sense a little something when they did bump into each other after the hearing. You know how K-dramas be, they usually give you like some subtleness when it comes to stuff like that. But like we got the K-drama subtleness, like the shot, the eye contact in that moment. I don't know, it lasted a little bit too long if you do ask me, so I feel like something might spark up there. But also the whole like scene of him finding out that she's Yoon Ha-joon's friend. Yeah, bro is definitely intrigued by her, like with no doubt. I feel like he's gonna be the first maybe to pursue her, and then maybe she's gonna like slowly warm up to him. Because right now I feel like she's like, yo, I hate this person, I want him sued, I want him behind bars. Like he said some awful things to me. I still wonder what they said. I should look into that. But yeah, she probably wants nothing to do with him, but he's probably gonna be intrigued, slowly getting to know her, and then they build up from there. Possibly. We will find out. Also, how could I be so silly and forget? The honorable mention cameo in episode 4, we got Byun Woo-seok from the one and only Lovely Runner, and he was like the new part-timer replacing Ji-wook. I was so happy to see him in that episode. Like, oh my god, the lines they gave him in that episode. He was showing her the cigarette pack. I was like, bro, what made y'all go with these lines? That's crazy. But okay, I actually might make a video on that K-drama next. Lovely Runner, truly a masterpiece. Might be one of the best K-dramas in 2024. I'm standing on that. I love this so much, so do expect a video on that eventually. But yeah, if you did like my rant so far and would like to see more of this type of content, make sure to like, comment below, and subscribe. Don't forget to also let me know what moments of No Love No Gain truly hooked you in, and see you next time. Bye!